Good evening, everybody. This is Gordon from Greyhawk Gaming, and I am joined by my players tonight for our first episode of the year. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back. I have Alan playing Xerxes, Mickey playing Siren, Byron playing Cyan, Peter playing Corollas, Richard playing Carcarius, and Neville playing Beirut. And I, of course, am the DM for this sorry lot of individuals. When we left off last year, our compadres were, or have just freshly returned to the port city of Seaton, the ducal seat of the province, as it were. And they were reintroduced to the Duke, and they received their papers of marque, which gives them license to hunt down pirates both within Kierland's waters and, by tacit approval of the Duke, even roaming outside of its traditional waters, to hunt them as well. They were also given another task to look into an unusual island in the Azure Sea known as the Abbey Isle, or the Isle of the Abbey, depending on whoever you want to ask. He's very much interested in it as a strategic place to build, but he had received reports from some of his ships that had returned that they had engaged some pirates that had been attacking the island, but when they set foot onto the island itself, or some of these marines to pursue the pirates that had made land after destroying the pirate ship, they were beset upon by all manner of undead monstrosities on the beaches. The rest of the island is extremely cliffy and rugged and not very easy to get to. So he wants you guys to basically go to this place, explore it, find out what the hell is going on there, and report back. And if I remember right, he offered you a nice reward of 2,000 gold pieces if you undertook this mission for him. You guys then also had some training time, about a month or so. Part of that was your class training to get up to level 5. The other thing, of course, is that you got 10 days of downtime that you can do something else with. So if you guys have any ideas or plans, now would be the time to speak it. First, deduct that 22 gold for your maintenance. Hello, Knight Templar. Welcome to the stream. So, shall we do it in order as I see people from left to right? So starting with Alan and moving to the right on my screen. Sound like a plan. All right, Alan. Remember, you only have 10 days, so make it quick. Lark and Laurel. Probably. Not as yet. Okay. I think that falls, both of them falls under research, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Well, what is the first thing that you want to? All right. Yeah. So you want to basically see if you can find any kind of links to the cult here in Seaton. Okay, cool. Interesting. Interesting. I say you can do one of those two things in the 10 days. Um, so which one do you want to do? No, 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 no. Don't make me prefer anything. What would... Go for it. Cult. All right. So I need you to make an investigation check for me or a persuasion check. It's not particularly stellar, but it's not so shitty that you're going to get into trouble for it. So, roll a d10 for me. Okay. Alrighty. So, in those 10 days that you now spend, you basically make your way to various institutions. You try to wheedle yourself into what you consider to be the seedy underbelly of the city. You meet some resistance because you're a bit of an unknown. In some ways, though, your tiefling heritage does help you. You do get an impression that there is something going on in the city potentially, but you're basically hitting a wall everywhere with everybody that you're speaking to. But what I can tell you is your persistence in asking these questions in the city has brought you to the attention of someone. That's as much as I'm willing to say at this point. Alrighty then. Hmm. Did we not do that last year? Oh shit! I thought we had. Hello, my party sheet is like empty. Okay, what do we have? There's still a bottle of antitoxin. Does not somebody not want to take that? Might be useful for one of the clerics to have. I know you guys like really used your store of healing potions at the points. All right. Okay, the cart is still in Salt Marsh. There are some crossbow bolts there. They're not going to sell for much unless somebody actually wants to take them. We might as well, if we're doing the maintenance, we might as well get rid of everything. So, does anybody need light crossbows? There's still some of those there. The gem-studded belt. Ooh. Yeah, you'd probably be able to find a buyer for that in Seaton. Seaton's big enough and there's enough noblemen and things around. Make me... I take it you, since you're the most charismatic one, Xerxes is going to be doing the selling of the gems. All right, you make me a persuasion roll again. That's better. All right, so you are going to find a buyer for this, no problems. If you want to, you can attempt to haggle to try and get a higher price. Let's say this is in particular the gems. What other gems are there? There's the silver bracelet, the small rubies, and the twisted, yeah, the gem studded belt I've already got. And then there's also that twisted bracelet. No. A ruby is not a diamond. Oh, okay. All right, well, give me another persuasion roll. Is anybody proficient in that can give him advantage or something? Excuse me, I'm choking. Persuasion. All right. So with that, you are going to get a 20% bump onto it. So all in all, those things are worth 825 gold pieces times 1. Oops, not 1.12. So you get 990 gold pieces, or 99 platinum pieces. He's just muttering, making things glow around him. There's this seagull that all of a sudden gets zapped. All right, so let me remove those things from the party sheet quickly. Yeah. Oh, hang on. The small rubies actually they're 100 gold each. Shit. Then I made a mistake. So that needs to actually be, hold on, 825 plus another 900 times 1.2. It's sherbet. It's actually 207 platinum pieces that you'll get. You guys are rolling in it. I seriously need a cash sink for you guys. Where's the fun in that? You can... Do remember, you do actually have somebody who can possibly procure you those things. At a price. Not in Seaton, no. Alright, so... you have no idea where Punkata is. Alright, so... That's the gems. What else is in here? There is a key. What key is this? No, it's for manacles. I'm deleting it. It's gone. Then you guys have a map. There's also potion of heroism, potion of water breathing. Basically, treat this as the bag of holding kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah, we can do. All of that stuff that's in the party sheet now, Nevs, do you want to drag it over into the actual bag of holding? There's also some studded leather. Cool. All right. Yeah, correct. Gust of wind. Scroll. Okay, cool. You guys can sort out the rest of that stuff. So Xerxes, I am finished with you, right? Siren. Yeah, you are out of time. So Siren, what are you doing in your 10 days? You can practice your profession. Exactly. So if you want, give me a performance skill check, please. Oh damn. 28. Okay. So this is how Cyan's role plays for the next 10 days. Basically, she's um, playing at all the haunts in town, even the rougher bit places down at the docks and that. And what this generally does, I'm going to start instituting something new for you guys. Your party is now going to work on a renown system. And what's happening here is the people of Seaton, Siren is busy buttering them all up and has made them very, very receptive to you guys during this week. Basically, the people are friendlier towards you guys. You are recognized on the street. People will greet you, trying to get into your good graces, those kinds of things. Because yeah, I mean, you can say how would you do it? Would you be making ballads, telling stories about your adventures? Like every bard does. If it's worth telling, it's worth telling in the most exaggerated form possible. Oh, your flute? You mean your pipe? I was like, what pipe? Yeah, no. I just realized we don't actually have any sounds or anything going in the background. Hey, it's some goat or sheep or something. That does that sound like super loud, or is it just me? Is it actually called the Pipe of Remembrance? Oh, okay. Yeah, so in general, this is what Siren does, and it works to your guys' favor. You have gained a point of renown in Seaton and the surrounding areas. Because the thing is, the way these port cities work, the sailors and things that are in these institutions will take those stories with them to other ports. So, always handy. Your fame or infamy will go out ahead of you. All right. So I just want to make a note of that. Renown. Okay. Next up, Cyan. What would you like to do? Okay. Make me a religious check. A religion check. Religious check. Mhm. Well, I mean, you made the acquaintance of the local priest, who you know was actually more of like a lay preacher. He had no divine power, so it's something that you could probably do with his assistance. Damn, we are rolling well tonight. So, um, let me put it this way. What's basically happened now is you can use the local little temple to Osprim as your little base while you're busy doing this, and he'll leave you alone. I mean, he tries to engage you in some in conversations and things. You teach him what little bit you know, which is not very much. He teaches you some of the formal things that he is aware of, but he still doesn't have that divine connection. But at a point when you're busy meditating and reflecting on your mace, you busy communing basically with Osprim, trying to figure out something. You're running your fingers over those strange symbols and runes along the side of the mace. Your hand is chilled by that ever-present chill effect that it has on it. But you get a strange impression. Normally when you're casting your clerical magics and you are actually communing with Osprim, you feel, well, how to describe, it's sort of like euphoric. You can actually feel that divine power flowing through you. However, when you try to focus that same kind of attention and reflection onto the mace, something else reaches out and touches your senses. Something that is not anything to do with Osprim. You get the sensation that this thing, while it might be at home in the deep, it is certainly not the kind of divinity that you are used to encountering. You don't get the impression that it's cursed or anything to that effect, but you do feel that this thing has definitely been, yeah, that's the right word, it's been consecrated to something else. Okay. It's definitely something you know that once, how can I say, it's almost like a oily feeling on your mind. You've now come into contact with this thing, and even though you're not actually physically handling the mace anymore, you still feel soiled somehow. This would probably take your whole 10 days. It's a fairly monumental thing, this. um, Later that day, when you see Cyan again at the inn, he's got little bits of like rotten vegetables and things just like clinging to his hair and shoulders and that. Because the docks are not a very clean place to take a bath. You'll still do it. Awesome sauce. All right. So next up, Carolus. Which one is that? I am proficient in all of the things. Well, I know you were a blacksmith. How would you be exercising that profession in Seaton? Masonry work. Well, you can offer your services to the city. Because remember, it was recently under attack. And do you remember that effort that was being made to try and clean the stonework from that sootiness that was all over it? Yeah, you can try and help out with that and repair some of these stone piers and things as well. Um, okay. I'm trying to think if you would need a check for this. I will say, give me a persuasion roll. Just to see if any interesting gossip comes your way while you're helping the people out. Okay, that's not too bad. I will get back to you and tell you what you learn next week. Sorry, so make a note here. All right. So next up, Carcarius. Mm-hmm. Okay. Into Procan's coffers or okay, okay. So you're just lining the temple's pockets a little bit. Okay. Give me a deception check. Let's see if how subtle you are. Net 20 for a 21. Yeah, nobody notices you doing it. You actually like almost get a cocky attitude because of it. It's like, was this actually my proper vocation? Or you perhaps it's you remember some advice that your good friend um now you see I want to say Oceanus and it's Orcus. Orcus probably taught you a thing or two. Ah, fantastic. All right, yeah. Hmm. Make me an investigation roll. It's not too bad. Luckily for you, the DC was 10. All right, so let me put it this way: your spell component cost, I assume that's for Revivify. Is it 300 gold per casting, or is it? All right. So I will say that with that roll, you've managed to find, especially considering Xerxes was already selling all that jewelry, um, you'll be able to find your 300 gold worth of diamonds. So just make a note in your inventory that you have 300 GP worth of diamonds. And then, of course, deduct the gold. Hundreds. All right. Then Beirut, what are you up to? You'll have to go a little bit out of town for that. Mm-hmm. And then? Yeah, but are you making the one big one or the 10 little ones? Okay. So, you know what to do, you know what to deduct. I'm not going to do that stuff. No problem. All right, so I think that finishes all the downtime activities. Just as an aside, because I don't know if you guys remember, you were also told about a certain Marine that had been injured during that encounter with those undead creatures along that beachfront. A certain Major Ursa. Do you recall? No. Let's just say that you were told about this guy. He was one of the survivors of the landing party on the Isle, who then fled for his life. He is fairly badly injured, but he is recuperating at a barracks near the docks. And you were given a general idea of how to find him as well. So just so you know, you can do that too. But yeah, you also have your ship that you can go and inspect. You were told about the leader of the Marines who have been assigned to your ship, who was a certain Sergeant Ives. So yeah, what would you guys like to do? It can be whenever. It can be whatever time you want. You may. Yes. Well, that's what I'm driving at. You have two things that you can definitely do while you're here in Seaton. One is actually take possession of your ship. The other is to go speak to the Major. Is everybody in agreement? Yep. There's like silence. Yeah, you'll be in the inn, the Lock and Laurel. Yeah. I'm basically handing over the reins of where you go to next to you guys. So you tell me what you want to do. All right. So off to the Major you go. Death Priest? The nihilism. Walk me down. You need to explain that to me. I'm not familiar with this reference. They allow that? One for the road. Well, usually one for the road is like, okay, I drink it and then I leave. Not take it with me. Okay. Understood. Alright. Alrighty. So, just as a little bit of a reminder of the season as well. You are now in early summer. You also know that in these southern climes, summer tends to last for around 5 or 6 months. It's actually fairly pleasant. So yes, you guys head down to the docks. It doesn't take you too long. I'd like you guys, however, to make some perception rolls for me, please. Everybody. Poor Bims. Jeez. Alright. So, let me see. Has everybody rolled? Corona, Cyan, Bears? Yeah, okay. Cool. The only two who really notice is Calcareous and Siren. As you're making your way down to the dock, I mean, you've already, if I can jog your memory, you already know that most of the fleet, most of the navy here in Seaton has been dispatched and is busy patrolling the waters. You encountered some of them on your way back to the town. What you're also noticing now as you're making your way down to the docks, just as you leave the inn really, coming down from the main road that leads towards the ducal castle, you see a large, well, I mean, most of you guys would notice this, but you could recognize the person leading it. What's his name? Old Applegate is at the head of a column of soldiers. There's around 20 armored horsemen, knights, and that like. If you recall, you saw most of them, and you actually pick out some of the devices on their shields. Were actually awaiting the Duke when you were there last. But behind them is an infantry column of about 50 men as well, and a couple of wagons bringing up the rear. And they seem to be marching towards the western gate. Just for your information. This looks more like an expedition of some sort. This isn't just, you know, the redeployment of forces within the town. These guys are actually going out of town for something. Yeah, that would be your, considering what you know of what's been going on lately, that would be a logical conclusion. I could make you roll insight for that, but no. I think you'd be fairly aware of it. But yeah, making your way down, I mean, you're greeted by all the different sounds that you would typically find. I mean, you're passing through some market areas and things. You've got a bunch of fishwives and things trying to flog their wares down at the docks as well. You know, their fresh catches and things. One woman like runs up to you with this huge, weird-looking purple fish. It stinks to high heaven. She says, "Fresh, caught today," and she's trying her best to sell it to you guys. I don't know if anybody wants to bite. Pardon the bad pun. You will buy it from her. She says to you, 5 silver pieces. You've never tasted meat like this. Yes, you may. The bag of holding. Okay, so with the 15, this is an unusual fish. You don't recognize the kind of fish it is. However, it does seem to be some sort of deep fish. And you figure that this smell that's coming off of it isn't actually that this thing is off. You think it is actually fresh. It's just fucking disgusting. You want it salted? Well, we usually salt it. Okay. She says, I'll have it all ready for you, sir. And, Hilda. She looks like well, your typical fishwife. She is, like, terribly sunburnt. She's wearing not particularly clean clothing. There's fish guts all over it. You can see she has, like, an array of knives tucked into a leather belt as well. She looks like she knows her business. My husband! He brought it in, fresh this morning. Yep. Yeah. This is basically down at the docks where they're selling all kinds of shit. She like reaches into a bucket next to her and she hauls out an octopus that's just like crawling and wrapping its tentacles around her arm. And she's like, "Can I interest you in one of these?" Oh no, this is best eaten live. Okay. It will be another 2 silver. She like gives you a big toothy grin, well, sort of toothless grin, and goes down to this like bench that she's got there that's just filled with blood and crap, and she just starts slicing and dicing. And she says, "I'll see you later." Clunk, 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 clunk. As you walk away, you hear her say, "Osprey bless you." Yeah. All right. um, the interesting bit is he was very clever in asking her to prepare it. It would have been pretty much like pufferfish eating the wrong part. You would have been dead or poisoned, depending on your saving throw. Yeah, well, that's basically herring that they salt. Mm-hmm. For ages. Yep. It's going to be something like to that effect. That's pretty much where I got inspiration for it. um, so yeah, you make your way down the docks. I mean, you see all kinds of things. I mean, you see there are a number of merchant ships and fishing ships coming in and out all the time. Offloading, loading up on all kinds of products. You notice a couple of familiar looking, well, not vessels, but at least their coloring and the flags that they are flying. You recognize them as ships belonging to the Empire of Ayuz. And you can actually see that most of the crew on board are very similar to Xerxes in their coloration and their nature. They are mostly tieflings. The few humans that you see on board look very thin and scraggly. And if anybody would like to give me an insight check, Ellen, you can have advantage on this check. Not Gillen's ship, no. Yep. Except for Beirut, apparently. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. All right. Corolla Siren and Xerxes, you guys are aware that those humans that you see on board, from the furtive glances that they keep on passing along to the tieflings in their midst, you also notice that the tieflings in general look better fed. They look cleaner. The few that you see, or of the humans that you see, carrying stuff down to the docks or carrying stuff up, as in some cases. When you look at these guys, you get the impression, you can see that their wrists are discolored. Their ankles are discolored. You can see on a couple of them, they also seem to have discoloration on their necks. Quite a wide band. You get the impression that they are not actually free men. These are slaves. But because they are in port, I don't think they would sell to you, Xerxes, or anyone at this point, because they need their crew. So you would be soundly rebuffed for that. But you do also get the impression from this, considering that their manacles and chains and things are not apparent, they know that Keelan frowns upon the practice of slavery. So they are basically playing a game here. They're just laying out the pretense. Slavery, no. It's illegal, yeah. They don't frown on it. They frown on it. You would know this from the history of the land itself. Not so much with regard to the Empire of IUs, but with the Sea Princes. They often raided all of the coastal settlements, including Seaton, for slaves. So the people here, that's one of the many reasons why they absolutely hate the Sea Princes. Because so many of their family members and things over the years, over the last 50, 60 years, have actually been effectively kidnapped and sold into servitude. So it's not the done thing. But yeah, it doesn't take you too long. You find the barracks after explaining who you are. You are let in, and you can see that this barrack seems to be more of an infirmary of sorts. You see there are actually several sailors here that are in various states. Some of them have some wrappings on body parts and things. Some of them are actually missing some of their appendages. But you get led into a room that's a little bit larger than the rest, probably as a small, nod to this guy's rank. And you see a gentleman still wearing his kilt, bright red and yellow. He has this, in many ways, he actually looks very similar to Cyan at the moment, because he also has that like tonsure. He's balding on top, but his hair is like a mix of red and silver. He's not a young man, but he's big, he's burly, and you can see that his arm is in a splint, as well as and this is his right arm, and his left leg seems to be all bandaged up as well, but it's not splintered or anything like that. And he just seems to be dozing at the moment, a little bit of sunlight coming through the window. he is at rest. And the young lady who's effectively the nurse here clears her throat and, you know, goes and gently touches him on the arm to try and wake him up. And immediately he gives this mighty roar as he wakes up and looks around, and you see his hands are just convulsing, like trying to find like the hilt of a weapon. But it doesn't take him long to notice that there's a whole bunch of strangers in my room. And he kind of like takes possession of himself again and like pats down and apologizes to the lady in this gruff voice. And he says, who are you lot? I'm not a captain, I'm a major. Name's Ursa, what's yours? He squints at you. He says, I suppose, that survivor, as are some of the other men in this room, or in this place, in the building. What's it to you? You hear him mutter under his breath, fucking adventurers. But you say you work for the king. Do you have any proof of this? Not sure, but let's say that you have it for now. So you're just going to flash him the paper. You're not going to break the seal or anything. You're just going to show. he squints at it for a second, and he squints at you, and he says, well, I suppose that's that then. Well, what do you want to know? I take it then that you're here on the Duke's business. Wants you to hunt down them pirates. Well, then he starts reciting a story, and he says, he gets himself a bit more comfortable, and he's like, he looks over at Siren, he says, you strange cat person, would you mind reaching behind you and bringing me something to drink? And you'll see that behind where you're standing, Siren, is a pitcher of water and a small porcelain cup. And no, you won't trip. You are a cat. You are very sure-footed. But basically, he goes into telling you that he was one of the Marines aboard one of the ducal ships, one of the Navy ships, that was passing near to the Isle of the Abbey when they saw smoke rising from the island. The captain, or his captain, decided to investigate, and sailed a little bit closer to the island, and that's when they noticed that there was actually a pirate vessel proudly flying its colors, attacking the island, launching basically flammable materials and things towards the Abbey. The captain immediately ordered an attack, and the pirate's vessel was sunk beneath the waves. But a whole bunch of the pirates had made their way onto the island itself. The order was given to pursue them, but when they arrived on the shore, something unusual happened that he is very uncomfortable recounting. He says that it just looked like dunes, just sand dunes, for, he can't even tell you, for hundreds of feet. But he says when his party of Marines, there was 20 of them, when they started to advance, trying to make their way deeper inland, they started getting attacked. Rising from the sandy earth below them were undead monstrosities. Some of them were your normal human size undead, still wearing, rotted old armor, some of it looking a little bit newer, but there was even a couple of strange... You see he's like struggling, but I'm going to use the word constructs, that seem to be an amalgamation of more than one of these skeletons. He tells you that his Marines then decided to get the fuck out of Dodge, and they lost about half of their number. The 10 that were left managed to get to the ships and start heading or get back to the boat and start heading back to the ship. And as they retreated, they could see these skeletons just start sinking into the ground again in different places, leaving the dunes unmarred. He accepts it. He says, "Don't let the nurse see you. She frowns upon any kind of alcohol being brought in here unless it's in one of her fucking tinctures." It's disgusting stuff. But anyway. I don't know. I'm a soldier. I'm paid to kill things, but how do you kill something that's already dead? I smashed a few with my warhammer. Yeah, no, my warhammer did its job, but still, there was just too many of them. And you see, you guys almost wearing your clerical devices out in the open, hey? So he I forgot about that. Luckily, you're not flying. But hey, actually, you know what, Xerxes? This is one man who would appreciate your dress style, because he's wearing a kilt, and there's nothing underneath it either. Anyway, but you see that his eyes flipped towards the emblem of Procan and Osprim on the two clerics, and he says, but somehow I take it this is why the Duke sent you. But he says, you burst out laughing. He says, he says, he figures there must be some way past all of the undead, some sort of safe route, because not all the they definitely didn't engage all of the pirates on the beach, and yet the pirates kept ahead of them, but the undead did not attack them. No, I didn't see them carrying anything odd. They were some distance away from us, so if they were holding something small, I don't know, maybe. Yeah. How do you mean? Yeah. Yes. They somehow were passing this shoreline where all the undead were. The undead were not really um, pursuing them. Yeah. Well, up above, we saw as we were coming around the western edge of the island, there were fairly high, what appeared to be some sort of steeple. So I assume it is a proper abbey, seemed to be made out of stone. It was difficult to tell because of all the smoke billowing from it. But there's definitely some sort of structure on there. But what fucking crazy clerics built a temple there, I don't know. Yeah, they were basically heading up. He describes the island to you. So basically, along the western side of the island, western, north, and eastern side, I believe it is. I must just get my bearings right. Give me 2 seconds. Where is that now? Basically, one side of the island is where this sandy beach is. It is quite large. But the rest of the island is it's fairly big. I'm trying to think. It's probably around 400 or 500 feet from end to end. But they are quite high cliffs. Think like the cliffs of Dover kind of a thing. And this beach leads uphill to the Abbey, basically. So they could see the smoke and the higher bits of the building from the ship, but that's about it. Cliffs. You could perhaps do that. It's just cliffs all the way around. It is a very unusual island. It's almost as if something forced it out of the ocean. Um, he says though that as they left the island and headed back towards Seaton with their wounded and that, and to make some repairs to the ship after it was damaged in its fight with the pirate ship. He says that the smoke that rose from the island lasted for days. So whatever was burning just kept on burning. So, is there anything else you want to ask Ursa, or Ursula as Cyan calls him? They weren't flying any particular colors, but we have the suspicion that they were most likely freelancers working for the Sea Princes. Yes. Please note, he's not denying the crazy though. Oh, good. This sounds like a good employment of the scientific method. Oh, goodness. Alright, guys, I see it is like almost 10 past 8. Shall we take a short 5-10 minute break? And then get something to drink, all of that stuff. Thank you to the folks in chat. We will be back shortly. 10 minutes or so. Try to be a little bit faster, but we'll see. I'll put up a ready check. Cool, and we are going to break. We're live. Welcome back, everybody, to the stream. I'm joined by all the people that were here before. I misspoke earlier. The island, it's actually about 5,000 feet across and about 11,000 feet long. It's a large island. Yeah, just a little bit. I can also tell you that the cliffs vary in height between about 40 to 50 feet high in places. So definitely not an easy thing, but yeah, you do have somebody that can fly. Yeah. 5,000 by 11. It's roughly looks almost like the continent of Africa, just a little bit, doesn't taper down as much towards the southern end. But those dunes take up about a quarter of the island. That beachy area. Yes. So yes. So you basically leave old what's his face alone, Major Ursa, and head back out towards the docks. And where are you headed to next, I wonder? To the bar? I was say, what happened to going to explore the ship? I thought Carolus was the quartermaster. No, okay, there's like some identity confusion. Are you even here? Yeah. Basically, you boss people around and you're in charge of repairing the ship. Oh yes, Carolus was the second mate. No, he was the second mate. This is the way I have it recorded. Captain is democracy, so it's all of you guys. The first mate is Siren, the second mate is Carolus, bosun is Cyan, quartermaster is Xerxes, surgeon is Carcarius, and the cook is Le Chef, Beirut. The chef Bob, sorry. My apologies. You want to try and sail your sailing ship up the river? No. It's too big. This is a sea vessel, not a river vessel. Your favorite guard in the ship. Hire a barge. Alright, so I want a couple of details. I need your guys' assistance to help round out some of the details. The ship, in terms of coloring, and we know it's what its name is, but what does it look like? Is the hull painted a certain color? Do you guys have some sort of emblem that you might have thought of? Now's the time to decide those details. Talk about weird tests of faith. I like it though. I like that. Okay. No, for sure. And they. Okay, I'll tell you what. I think this needs to be done by vote. So let's say holy symbols carved on two sides of ship. Yay or nay? Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't say /vote. But I'd like to think that in Xerxes' cabin, like hidden somewhere, is the symbol of Glacia as well. The mast. Okay, that sounded weird. In Glacia on the mast. Are you actually going to hide it, or are you going to put it out in the open, like at the top somewhere? Hey, Alan, where will the symbol of Glacia be on the mast? Okay. Neville. Okay. You are deceived. Corollas calls you bullshit. For a second, I thought it was going to be a natural one. Technically not true. She does like money, though. It is a giant penis. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find it for you. Bonus, yes. Labulus. Labulus. Labulus is something else. Strangely, it does not have the symbol here. I thought it was in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Maybe it's under the cults. Cults of huh. Interesting. If anything, do you know what her one of her symbols is also coins, eh? Not the labelist. What? How do you spell that thing? Where did you find that? Wow. Okay, these are like weird symbols. I don't know what this shit is. Yeah, well. Crap on. Okay, we're getting a little bit distracted. Needless to say, Alan, I will allow you to huh? Okay, yes. That's cool. That's fine. Alan, you and I will design something really cool for each of your deities, so that and we can put it up. All right. So, as you seeing this, how does your ship look? What does it have? Does it have like any kind of symbol on the sails? Are the sails a particular color? Are they striped? What does it look like? Come on, guys, feed me ideas. I need your help building the world. Oh wow. You're approaching your ship. Okay. I'm down with that. So, do you want some plain ones? That green blue one? What one would you? You do have an entire crew to help you with this stuff, but they'll, uh, yeah, I believe it is a 2 or a 3 mast ship. No, I have the perfect sails for you. You guys are going through the market, right? And you're seeing all these different colors and things that you're looking for. But what you eventually get to the ship with is basically a fucking patchwork quilt. These little squares of all the different samples that you collected that have been sewn up into the sails. Yes. And the thing is, it's so busy, it might actually make you invisible. um, well, we already know Alan's idea for the figurehead. Does anybody else have any ideas for the figurehead? For a second, I thought he was going to say, let's just put Bims's head there. Alan casts in large. Well, your ship does not have that kind of equipment on it. You can actually pay for a ram. Oh, gold sink time. Would you like to add a ram to your ship? For the low price of, let me tell you. $1 billion. Yeah, what I'll say is, if you make the unicorn thing, it will look like a unicorn's head going into the horn, and that will actually be the ram part of it. I like that actually quite a lot. That is quite. What's interesting is, I must actually just tell you, there are a number of things that you can get. Oh, pardon me. They are superior ship upgrades. They cost about 15,000 gold pieces, and they take about 4 weeks. It's 1d4 weeks to do. So I would need to roll a d4 for it. But yeah, you can do things like upgrading your hull. You can basically put enchantments on it. I will give you the full list of them at some point. I'll type it out. Just so that you know, these are the kinds of things that you can potentially do to your ship. But just to give you an example, there's something called the Churning Hall. A tempest rages within the ruin-etched iron chains. Raiders and pirates who operate under the blessings of a storm god sometimes make use of this upgrade. By draping the chains over a ship's hull, the storm's fury thrashes into the water around it. The water within 210 feet of the ship is difficult terrain for anything other than this ship. 15,000. Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to see. I thought it was under the weapons upgrades, which are like things like artillery upgrades and different kinds of things that you can use. Figurehead upgrades. Yeah, there's a couple of different things here. There's a Guardian figurehead, a Red Dragon figurehead, a Storm Giant figurehead. What I can always do with a unicorn is see if I can create a unique one for you guys. If you're willing to pay the 15,000, it also has some sort of enchantment on it. I don't see the ram. What's that? Yep, 510 gold extra. Again, I do not see the RAM thing in this, but I'm sure there must be something somewhere. I know it's on one of the other ships. No, you need to buy a actual warship. What do you mean by dreadnought? Correct. Yeah, for the normal ram's head, it'll probably cost about 1,000 gold. No enchanting. I'll just need to figure out how to put it on this ship. just keep in mind, even though the ram might be made out of adamantium, it's still attached to the wood of the ship. The ship will also potentially take damage. It will have a damage threshold, and if it goes higher than that threshold, your ship will also get damaged. Because historically, ramming ships was not something that was typically done, because ships are fucking expensive. Very much so. Oh, there's a whole section on crashing a ship. Fantastic. Who's the navigator? Thank you. Just actually reminded me of something. As part of your training for your class for level 5, you guys would have also been doing some training exercises with your ship. I know it's like mangling the timeline a little bit, but the idea behind it is so that you guys, these positions that you guys have taken, you're actually now going to be proficient in those skills as well. So, Ellen, you can decide for yourself. If you'd like, you can remain as quartermaster, or you can actually, more fully lean into learning the navigator's art, which will allow you. You would learn how to be an accountant, basically. Well, it's, like I say, up to you. You can decide, and we can figure it out in the next week or so. Alrighty. You would learn how to make food cheap. Um. So all right. So let's say for now, um, I will figure out the exact details. You guys want a unicorn ramming figurehead, basically, that you may or may not use to actually ram ships. Well, that will be part of that 1,000 gold pieces. Okay, cool, cool. Um, I wanted to have a look and see. They don't really have those the pricing for that kind of stuff. But I will figure out a bill and let you guys next week. No, next week. Okay. And if I think prestidigitation only applies in a 5 foot little area. Small mark. Yeah, prestidigitation is generally very small. Yeah. You would need something a bit like Byron says, the minor illusion or major illusion, or what's that other one? There's another one as well that you can use. Okay, but let's not get too bogged down into that. So, how many different kinds of sails and things do you guys want? So, shall we make it an even 10, and then we can decide at a later point exactly what those 10 different types are? Yeah. Ah, shit. Oh, wave piercer. Wave piercer. What color is the hull painted? Is it, or is it not unpainted? Mint green. um, just I will make it. So cast your votes. So we've got a tie between Black Hole and Black Hole with mint green stripe. Yeah, no, put in your preference. If you've got more than one preference, if there's something you don't mind, vote for it. Yes. So it looks like, oh god, we're back to it. To what's the name? Okay, dark wood or black? Okay, it looks like we're at dark wood. Okay. They are. Are you all happy with that? Darkwood with mint green racing stripes. Okay, so not. It's your ship. If you're happy. Well, the breather in the front is your unicorn. Um. Okay. It is done. All right. So, as you guys make your way down the stone piers towards where you now know your ship is docked, you see this forest of masts around you. You see this ship with its sails currently raised, obviously, as most of them are. So the sails are indiscernible at this point. You don't know what color they've decided to put up for this day, but they're probably going to just be plain old white. But you see your mahogany colored hull with this flame pattern along the side in the charcoal paint. you see the name Wave Piercer. Now this is another thing. How? Gold? Gold paint on the side? Okay. Can it be carved and highlighted with gold? Or... and highlighted with gold. Accent. Yeah. But as you're making your way down towards your ship, and it's now easily identifiable to you guys, a couple of things stand out. You can see that there is some activity. There seems to be a bunch of the sailors. They seem to be actually, they're not wearing any kind of uniform. But you can also see that there are men on board, busy basically acting as sentries. From your experience, you can tell immediately that these would be the actual Marines. These guys carry themselves as soldiers. At the foot of the ramp, you notice two men who are having a conversation as you walk up to the gangplank. One of them you recognize immediately, wearing his customary reds, is a certain gentleman you met in Saltmarsh. It is old Lord, what was his face? I'm gonna get his name wrong. Redford. No, Redford. The Duke's right-hand man. And he is standing there, you know, all nicely oiled, slicked back hair, the fine moustache pulled into fine points, and he's busy chatting to a very tanned gentleman. And even though he's not wearing any kind of uniform, he still strikes you as he has a very commanding presence. Also standing with his hands behind his back. You almost get the feeling that Lord Redford is actually imitating him as a very simple way of flattering him. But they notice you as you come closer to the ship, and the good Lord says, "You have arrived at last. My little mice told me you were on your way. Welcome to your ship." Who said anything about spying? How crude. He's not on the ship. Nope. No, he's on the docks still. Standing at the foot of the gangplank. Waiting for you to actually board your ship. And he gives a small little nod of his head, and he, using his right hand, he points to the gentleman to his side, and he says, "This is Sergeant Ives. He is in charge of the detachment of Marines that have been assigned to your ship. He also has orders that if you ever betray the Duke, he is to make every effort to bring the Duke your heads." Ha ha ha! This was just a joke. Anyway, let's go aboard, shall we? And he starts walking up the gangplank, just expecting you to follow. Sergeant Ives gives you a nod and follows him up as well. Do you guys go up? Awesome. So, making your making your way up. Immediately when you touch down on the deck, Xerxes and the rest of you also, start not lining up, but start coming aboard. You hear a sharp whistle, and immediately all of the men on board turn to face inward, towards you guys, basically, and give you a salute. And Lord Redford then proceeds to introduce each of you to your new crew. And makes it known that you are to be obeyed in all things. And there's not really much ceremony, but he motions over to a young page that has actually been waiting in the shade, and he comes forth, and he's actually holding a couple of dark green bottles. They look almost like champagne bottles, like the old proper French champagne bottles. And he says, "This is a small token from the Duke and myself to wish you bon voyage on your journeys, and that you come back victorious, with plenty of plunder, of course." It is fine wine. With the wine. It's for drinking, not for cooking. And he says, he says, I will send down for some cups. It doesn't take too long for the page to bring back a bunch of not like shitty looking, but Lord Redford says, I do prefer a cup, but I'll honor your custom. And he like lifts the bottle up and he gives a little swig, and he like very delicately takes out like a handkerchief and like pats his mouth dry and his beard, and he's like, quite interesting, yes. Well, I did ask, but it's not a problem. It's not a problem. But he says, it is now official. You are now in control of this vessel, and you have the Duke's blessing to depart the port whenever you are ready. We have loaded the ship with about a month's worth of provisions on your behalf. Though if there are any specific items that you would like to have on board, let us know before you set sail, and we will try our very best to fulfill your wishes for this first time. In future, you will need to pay for everything yourself, including the food and drink for your crew. Within reason. Fruitcake. Oh. Running expenses. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, this. Yeah. Let me share the. Well, you could have done that with your training that you received. So you've got the map in front of you now, right, guys? Mm-hmm. The thing that you saw fall from the sky. Now I'm trying to recall which river did it come out of. It was the Dunwater River. So the promontory that the lizard folk encampment was at is over here. How do you make a circle again? Is over here somewhere. Whoops. It's over here. So when you saw that thing fall out of the sky, it would have been probably in that hex over here somewhere in that area, probably maybe a little bit further out to sea, about there-ish. Which little town? It does not have a name. It's just the lizard folk lair. The lizard folk aren't really into naming their homes. Let me see. I need to get my special thing in front of me, and I don't have it. I did not think we would get this far. Sales, movement. Listen, it is sometimes. It is difficult to estimate. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the thing open in front of me quickly. Travel at sea, because that's about 20 miles away. So it's about a day away for you guys. No, well, remember the Duke. Also true. The Duke just prepared you for a voyage, so you've got a lot of like hardtack and fruits and things like that on board. And remember, you can always supplement your food and stuff too with fish. I mean, there's many barrels of things like salted pork and salted fish and that as well. There are some like cages of live poultry and stuff, so that you can have eggs and that kind of stuff, and of course the grain to feed those kinds of animals. But yeah, it's up to you guys. I'm not going to go into too much detail. No, well, all right. No, not 2 hours. It's going to take you a day. A little bit further than that. If you're looking at just straight at the straight hexes, yeah, but it's, remember, you've got to come out of Seaton, down that little inlet, and then still get to Abbey Isle. So I'd say it's about 20 hours. You travel 1 mile per hour. So it will take you a little bit of time. Yeah, well, you guys can send me those lists, and I will try and figure out what is, allowed, what can actually be done within a day's preparation. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to call it for the evening. Next week, we set sail, I assume, after a little bit of admin. And yeah. This is also true. This is also true. Alrighty then. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome back. This is awesome. I have missed playing D&D so much. It is ridiculous how quickly and how slowly the time went at the same time. No, awesome. So thank you very much, everybody in the chat and that, for joining us. Once again, catch our podcast. Will probably be available tomorrow or on Friday by the latest. And it will also, of course, be on YouTube for you to watch at a later date. Stay safe, and this is us signing out. Adios.